Namaskar, Shri Vidhya ji. Thank you
Namaste,
so
Harmanjeet
much
Rekhi.
for agreeing to be a part of this movement, the Global Menopause Collective. And thank you so much for sparing your time, your energy, your effort, and joining us for the small little podcast of us. For the benefit of the viewers, I would like to introduce a very, very dynamic personality, Shri Vidhya ji. She joins us from Chennai. She is a Bach Flower Therapy Expert, a psychotherapist by profession. She calls herself an alternate healer, and she has been into this modality for more than about 20 years. And today, we have joined together to talk about a very important, a very powerful topic, Siddha Kunjika Stotra. This is a condensed form of Durga Saptashati. Durga Saptashati is 700 verses in the praise of goddess Durga. And this is the condensed form, and this encompasses all the power of Durga Saptashati. So before we begin, I would like to recite the Siddha Kunjika Stotra. I'm sure I will be able to do it as gracefully as the goddess wants me to. Siddha Kunjika Stotra Shiva Uvach Shrundevi Prabhakshami Kunjika Stotram Utamam Yena Mantra Prabhavena Chandijapah Shubho Bhavet Na Kavacham Nargala Stotram Kilakam Nar Hasyakam Na Suktam Na Pidhyanam Cha Nanyaso Na Cha Varchanam Kunjika Pathamatreణ Durga Patha Phalam Labhe Tati Guhyantaram Devi देवनामपि दुर्लभं गोपनीयं प्रयत्नेन स्वयो पार्वती मारणं मोहनं वश्यं स्तम्भनोचाटनादिकं पाठमात्रेण संसिद्ध्येत् कुञ्जिका स्तोत्रम् उत्तमं मतमन्त्रः ॐ ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं चामुण्डायै विच्चे ॐ ग्लौं हूं क्लीं जूं सः ज्वालय ज्वालय ज्वल ज्वल प्रज्वल प्रज्वल ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं चामुण्डायै विच्चे ज्वल हम सं लं क्षं फट् स्वाहा इति मन्त्रः नमस्ते रुद्ररूपिण्ये नमस्ते मधुमर्दिनी नमः कैटभारिण्ये नमस्ते महिषार्दिनी नमस्ते शुम्भहन्त्रयै च निशुम्भासुरघातिनी जागृतं हि महादेवी जपं सिद्धं कुरुष्व मे ऐङ्कारी शिष्टरूपायै ह्रीङ्कारी प्रतिपालिका क्लींकारी कामरूपिण्ये बीजरूपे नमोऽस्तु ते चामुण्डा चण्डघाती च यैकारी वरदायिनी विच्चे चाभयदा नित्यं नमस्ते मन्त्ररूपिणी धाम धीं धूम धूर्जटे पत्नी वां वीं वूं वागधीश्वरी क्रां क्रीं क्रूं कालिका देवी शां शीं शूं मे शुभं कुरु हुं हुं हुंकारूपिण्ये जं 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 बनादिनी भ्रां भ्रीं भ्रूं भैरवी भद्रे भुवाने ते नमो नमः अं कं चं टं तं पं यं शं वीं दुं ऐं वीं हं क्षं दिजाग्रं त्रोट्य त्रोट्य दीपतं कुरु कुरु स्वाहा पां पीं पूं पार्वती पूर्णा खां कीं खूं खेचरी तथा सां सीं सूं सप्तशती देव्या मंत्र सिद्धिं कुरुष्व मे इदं तु कुञ्जिका स्तोत्रं मंत्र जागृति हेतवे अभक्तेनैव दात्वयं गोपितं रक्ष पार्वती यस्तु कुञ्जिकाया देवी हीनां सप्तशतीं पठेत् न तस्य जायते सिद्धिर्रण्यरोदनं यथा इति श्रीरुद्रयामले गौरी तंत्रेषु पार्वती संवाद कुंजिका स्तोत्रम संपूर्णमोम तत्सत्. This was Siddha Kunjika Stotram. Siddha Kunjika Stotram holds a very special place in this global menopause collective of ours. They call menopause the end of womanhood. I call it the beginning of Shaktihood. But here's what no one says about this. Menopause might be a pause, but it is also a transition, a crossing over, the end of one life and the slow, tender beginning of another. And with every ending, there comes grief. The kind of grief that has no name, the kind that sits quietly inside your chest. When you realize your body no longer speaks the language it once did, the kind you can't express because no one else would understand. We live in a world that celebrates beginnings, but forgets to hold space for what ends. Where do women go to grieve the lives they have just outgrown? Who sits beside them when their hormones shift, when their rhythms change, and when their reflection feels like a stranger? This is not weakness, this is becoming. Menopause is that sacred threshold where the outer fire of creation turns inwards, where the womb that once created life outside now begins to create light within. It is biology, yes, it is biology, but it is also mythology. It is the goddess transforming once again from the nurturer to the knower, from the gentle Durga to fierce Kali. In our scriptures, even the goddess pauses before she awakens her next form. So why shouldn't a woman? So if you find yourself weeping, that's what I asked my mother. If you find yourself weeping for no reason, if you miss parts of yourself you didn't know you'd even lost, sorry, I think I should tell every woman who's passing through this. You are grieving a world you once held together, and that grief is sacred. Let it stay. Let it move through you like a prayer. You don't need to rush into healing. You only need to be heard. Because menopause is not the end of the fire. It is the moment when flame begins to change its shape. And when it does, you'll see. You were never losing power. You were only learning to hold it differently. And it's a very humble request to every woman who's passing through this transition. You're not fading. You're becoming Shakti. The same Shakti we evoked with Siddha Kunjika Stotram. Shri Vidhya ji, what's your opinion about this? I'm sorry, I start shaking a little bit at times.
Uh, First of all, I would like to thank you for welcoming me on this collective. Um, so the stotram, what you recited, amazing,
Thank you. Thank you so
amazing.
much.
I don't know if you noticed within you, but especially when the parts of the bija mantras came,
Yes.
did you find different chakras of yours vibrating, thrilling?
I start to sweat. I start to feel sweat all over my body, and I can feel that every time that happens.
So, sound, mantras,
Yes.
they have a profound effect upon our body. A woman, when she gets married, especially, she forms her family. Prayer is an everyday part of most Hindu families. Other families as well, they've got their own now. Their belief systems are there. Especially in our Sanatan Dharma. When we pray, when we दिया जलाते हैं हम लोग, तो उस समय हमारा मंत्र उपचारण होता है. They all have an effect on our system. Similarly, this Siddha Kunjika Stotram, it also has a profound effect when a woman who is going through this period, when she starts chanting it, when she even listens to it. I was just listening to you right now, and it still had an effect on my system.
Right.
It does have an effect on her system as well. Whether
Right.
she believes in it, she doesn't, it's beyond that because it is sound. And we may seem the physical body, but we're just energy.
Absolutely.
So, this energy that comes through when we listen to our chants, our mantras, they have an effect. And that effect takes place when she starts listening to this on a regular basis. Just listening
Right.
to it, even if her Sanskrit is not great. Just listening to it will bring about the changes within her system. So, all this depression that she's feeling, okay, this loneliness, like you said, fading away, all these feelings slowly transform into her taking a journey within herself.
Right.
That
True.
begins that. So she may not understand these things initially when she's listening to the stotram, but slowly, over a period of time, these sound vibrations, they start aligning the chakras.
True.
How? When she's going through this phase, she doesn't understand half the things that are happening to her because it is not documented anywhere.
Absolutely.
So when it is not documented, we just fall back on the previous generation or the generation before that.
Right.
When you go and approach a gynac, the first thing that she asks you, when do you remember when was the time that your mother stopped menstruating? And around about that age, you also would
Should
also
be.
be going through the same thing. Karke, that's the explanation that is usually given.
Right. Right.
Does our mom know? She may know probably the time, but does she know what she went through before she actually hit menopause? That is a complete cessation of the menstrual cycle.
Right.
Does she know what she went through before this? I doubt.
I
Even if I
wonder.
ask my mom, she said, oh, it was all just very hunky dory for me. Because we have discussed a lot of our relatives who went through, some of them even had severe depression and they had to come out of it, and a lot of physical problems also. But she said for her, it was all pretty hunky dory. So I'm hoping it's going to be the same for me too.
True.
But
True.
again, it depends upon the family support that she has.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The husbands do need to be made aware of this. Our generation, especially until now, our generation, that is, 40s, 50s that we are in right now, this generation, the men slowly are taking an interest. What is happening to my wife? This generation, the ones that are coming after us, are already into it. But our men, our husbands, are a little late to awakening to this.
Right.
Why?
Right.
Because their moms never discussed it.
It was
Even
always
talk,
a taboo. It still is a taboo.
it is
It is
very much
still
a
a taboo.
taboo. In most households, the men, if they have a brother, they are not ever told ki bhai, your sister is going through something like this. It's not spoken in the family.
It is not. It is not.
It is just understood, fine, she must be in her days. That's it.
You know, when I started speaking about this topic to my family members, the first remark that was, why are you getting involved in menopause? You be happy with cars, jeeps, tires, go with your family to the mountains and this and that. Why? What are you getting involved? Are you a doctor? No. The first thing that menopause triggers is medical advice. And if you see the internet, today, these days, you have AI and everything, right? So you can have a gist of everything that's there. You've got everybody who's speaking about menopause from a medical perspective. Medical this, medical that. And medical also just what probably people can benefit from. HRT is very highly discussed because that's an industry in the making. What do you do with the human lens? What do you see with the human lens about this as a transition? This is not a disease. And that's what I was discussing with somebody a couple of days back. That's what she says. She says, Arman, you need to hold space for grief. This transition holds a certain bit of grief. The grief that you've let go of a phase, a stage in life. And this is not a phase. It's not that this phase is going to be over and you're going to be back to what you were at 30, 35, 36 before perimenopause hit you. This is a stage. This is a step up. So we need to kind of make people aware, make women aware that this is a step up. This is not a step down. You've not lost something. You have grief. Of course, you have grief. You hold space for that grief. But don't be depressed about it. Of course, it's a natural phenomena. It will hit you. This is hormones at play. But then this is not a phase. This is a stage, and it is here to stay. This is your new reality, and the version that you are becoming is much more powerful, much more responsible. Nature has given you the robe of a much higher responsibility. And that's what there's a new term these days being discussed as grandma's hypothesis. Not literally the grandmother, but the grandmother. What the Devi was. Devi was not considered as the grandma. She was considered as the mother of mothers. So this is what is happening. And now when I look back at my own mother's journey, she was a mother. She became a mother-in-law. Then she became a grandmother in literal sense. And now when I look at her, she is the mother of mothers. But then, of course, there are so many women who are not able to accept this. And acceptance needs to be the first start point of their journey into menopause. And even before menopause, even during when the start of perimenopause, women should start accepting the fact that, yes, I'm going to change and it's going to be forever.
I just like to add to this.
Hmm.
You said grief.
Hmm.
When a girl child is born,
Hmm.
when she comes of age, does she grieve that she has lost the innocence of her childhood?
No.
She doesn't.
No.
When a woman becomes a mother,
Hmm.
she becomes a mother because she has the fertility and
Right.
because her cycle has started.
Right.
Does she grieve the fact that she is not that same 20-year-old girl?
No ways.
No.
No ways.
So when she hits menopause, what is there to grieve about?
Hmm.
Like you said, it's a different stage. It's a new chapter.
Hmm.
When we're reading a book and it's really going very interesting, do we like to put it down? We go on
No,
chapter
no,
after
no. Of
chapter, na?
course, of course, of course,
Until we end
of
the
course.
book,
Hmm.
right? We put it down and we're like, ah, wow, that was a good book. वैसे ही होता है ना, जिंदगी में तो वैसे ही है ना. I mean, एक किताब पढ़ लिया तो that's what it's like, right? That's the experience. So what is there to grieve about? There are different stages, and I think we women are very lucky that way because we have so many chapters.
Yes.
अगर 80
Yes.
साल आज के डेट पे अगर 80 साल is the expected time to live, I think we have everything in it. then what is there to grieve? I think we have a beautiful life.
I'll tell you something. What my perspective says, or probably what I think about it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not that mature in this topic still. I've got a daughter who's 11 years of age, and my son who's 6 years of age. So they are 5 years apart. And when that boy was still about 6 months of age, we saw something magical happening in my daughter. Her name is Japita. Japita used to behave like his mother. For no rhyme or reason. Nobody taught her some things. It wasn't that she was trying to play with him, but she had those motherly instincts. And this happens, this we've seen. Ab aap dekho, girls like to play with dolls and they'll become their mama for no rhyme or reason. You bring in a pet in your house, they'll start to become the mother of that thing also. Yes.
Yeah.
When she was very young, she used to come and, pat me off to sleep as if she's my mother. They have that motherly instincts right from their inception into this world. And when she grows up, when she's actually growing up, she's looking forward to that motherhood.
Yeah.
When she becomes a mother, she's not grieving what she's left behind because she was always waiting for this.
Correct.
When she's become a mother, she's very happy. She's in the bliss. That's what pregnancy does to you. You start glowing because you're feeling that bliss from inside. What is menopause doing? Biologically, psychologically, and physiologically, it is putting an end to that scope of motherhood. And that lady, that woman, is grieving the loss of the possibility of being in that motherhood anymore in this life. That's my perception. I perceive it like that.
Okay. Okay. So when she becomes a mother, whether it is to a single child or to 2 or 4, whatever, आजकल तो एक ही बहुत बड़ी बात है.
Hmm.
So when she becomes a mom, she is so involved in bringing up the child in the best way possible.
Hmm.
Okay. As a parent, she may go here and there because parenting is going to be an absolutely new chapter for her.
Hmm.
But when she, having become a mom,
Hmm.
when she enters menopause,
Hmm.
then she is at a stage to hang up the towel
Boots.
and say, huh,
Hmm.
ho gaye. My part is done. I was born a woman. I was blessed with fertility. I had a child. Now the child's grown up. The child is having a family of his own.
Hmm.
I can hang up. Okay, but this mentality does not come very easily to world over women. It's not just
Right.
Indian. Indian
Right.
to sarankhon par, my God. We'll
Hmm.
always be a mom. Okay, well, even if he is married and he has kids of his own, he has his
Yes.
own responsibilities, we will
Yes.
still be his mom.
Yes.
Okay? But world over, all moms are like this. Okay?
Hmm.
But the thing is, when she comes to that stage now, when perimenopause sets in, she is still, there is chances of her still becoming the mom.
Right.
Okay? Studies have shown that when you are in your perimenopause, okay, only a doctor can verify this, but studies have shown that the egg that is released during your everyday cycle
Hmm.
is not to the size that it actually should be.
True. Very true.
So you may have periods, but it is not to the level, that size, the specific size that it can support a new life.
Hmm.
All right. That, like I
Right.
said, only doctors can verify that.
Right.
Okay. So you may be menstruating and everything, and then you come to a time when it starts slowing down, in the sense ki some people may have very heavy bleeding, and then it slowly stops. And then some people may skip many months. They may skip months, probably 2 months, and then 3 months, and then 5 months. And then slowly you actually stop. The official take is that when you have completed 12 months of no periods, then you are officially into menopause.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the take. तो menopause पहुंच गए, but उसके साथ साथ जो है ना, a lot of other changes are happening in our body. Some of the few things is like fatigue. We become so tired. We don't understand why. मेरी बहुत से क्लाइंट्स बताते हैं कि बैठे बैठे हम सो जाते हैं, बट हम जाके सोते हैं, but then we're not sleepy.
Yeah.
So that
So
fatigue.
basically, you're not rested. You're not rested, I would say.
Yeah.
है ना?
So all these changes happen. You're not rested, and then you have brain fog.
Oh yes, massive.
Brain fog is killing because you have been very active in your family. You can just calculate everything just in your head, but then that starts slowing down, and then you start getting irritated with yourself. Ki, bhai, why is this happening now?
Because you see your abilities diminish.
Yeah.
And that diminishing ability starts to, if you're not informed or if you're not in a supportive environment, this will be construed as tantrums.
You
And
get
then
irritated.
that overlay of these unnecessary layers, I would say call them unnecessary because these are not necessary.
No, we have
And
sufficient things to take care of. All these things
yes,
are unnecessary.
so these are unnecessary.
Yeah.
There's as such so much of turmoil happening. If I may call it as a turmoil, there's as such so much of turmoil happening in your body. You having mind fog, and on top of that, you have to keep explaining to your own people. Forget about strangers. That nahi, everything, nothing's wrong with me mentally. I mean, and how much of self-confidence would you have at that time when actually you're not able to think clearly?
Yeah.
So club it with self-doubt, club it with layers of everybody pounding their opinions on you, and club it with something that you have to explain, and then you have to justify. अभी कल तो डॉक्टर के गए थे, आज फिर जाना है तुमको. And what do you go and tell the doctor? डॉक्टर भी आजकल वो वाले तो है नहीं कि नाड़ी पकड़ी और आपको देख लिया सारा कुछ. You have to kind of tell somebody, ना? And what do you tell them? कि मेरे को क्या हो रहा है? So unless and until you are able to decipher for yourself, you will not be able to tell the doctor. And then once you go back, if you want to kind of approach the doctor again, you have to justify to 10 more people before you can reach the doctor.
Yeah.
So now this is a vicious circle. This keeps happening. And the more it happens, the more, I would say, narrowed down, cornered down you feel that now what? So it's not so much the menopause which is troubling you. It is the external factors surrounding menopause which are actually troubling you. And this is exactly the reason why we have formed this community. If you go back 5,000 years, if you go back, let's say, to the Vedic times, there were sabhas. And the sabhas were for this reason only. So अब क्या है, अब हमने बहुत बड़े बड़े फैंसी नाम दे दिए, support groups and this that. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. What we are trying to do is we are trying to take back our people, or let's say the world over, to the Vedic times in a digital format. If you felt good listening to Siddha Kunjika Stotram, I'm sure so many people will draw a lot of power.
Yeah.
And we want to have these chanting circles where people chant together. We're still working on the technology because on Zoom and all these platforms, the voice starts to echo and voice cancellation starts to happen. So that has not been possible for us. We tried a couple of times. It was a very big blunder. But now we are working on some technology. Let's see if we are able to do that. The moment we are able to do that, we want to start with this.
Yeah.
And we want more men to be involved, Shri Vidya ji. Why? Because you are giving knowledge to the lady who's going through this. She accepts, okay, whatever is happening is not a very big tragedy to me. That's okay. That's understood. But then if she has to go back and face the same thing, if she listens to this, all this pravachan in her bedroom or in the, study room, and she goes to the drawing room and there's again that plethora of justification that she has to give, then what's the point?
But that's the time the men have to access their feminine side.
Yes, very true.
Females are feeling people. Men are action bound. पत्नी ने अगर ये इतना बड़ा लिस्ट दे दिया कि भाई ये सब चीजें खरीद के लाओ, तो सब जो लिस्ट में है बंदा वही खरीद के लाएगा। पर जब औरत जाती है उसके पास लिस्ट होगा, बट वो कुछ और सब्जी देख लेगी। अरे टिंडे की
Right.
सब्जी है, मेरे पति को पसंद है, ये आ गया मार्केट में, तो वो ले आएगी। क्यों? क्योंकि उसने फील किया कि मेरे पति को, बच्चे को, माँ बाप को, सास ससुर को, किसी को तो पसंद है भाई ये, तो लेट मी पिक इट अप। बट अ मैन, his tendency is whatever is on the list, मैं वही चीजें खरीद के लाऊंगा।
Go by the
Why?
checklist. Action
Exactly,
people. Yeah.
exactly. क्योंकि उसको कैसे भी वो बेचारा है ना, ये डरा हुआ है, मैं कुछ और लाऊंगा ना, फिर मेरी पत्नी मेरे को डांटेगी करके, it's just safer to stick to the list.
But apart from this, Shri Vidya ji, Meko, I need to understand this with respect to, see, I'm a man, right?
Yeah.
I've never been into any of, I was in the merchant navy earlier. I was at a post where I was handling ships and I was handling men, and all my life I've been surrounded by men. But somehow some things happened that I initiated this particular cause. And now every day, probably sometimes there are by the hour, I figure out that this is my Swadharma. And even I need refinement. And from seniors like you, from experts like you, I would want to understand how can I, as the navigator or sutradhar of this movement, family and movement, I can enhance my feminine side and at the same time align my male action-oriented side. What needs to be done actually? Yes, it's a beautiful concept, but how do we put it into practice?
Okay, so let me take it from my family.
Sure.
Let me give me an example. कि
Sure.
भाई हमारे घर में मेरे जो पति हैं,
जी.
उनको, when I started going through this, okay, and this is something which I share with my clients as well, कि भाई also include your family members when this is happening to you. When you start seeing changes in you, please inform your family members what is going on, because they are completely in the dark. They do not understand why nice mummy has become tiger mummy. Okay? So they don't understand that. So please, whatever I am sharing with you, videos या फिर articles, please उनको भी आप awareness दीजिए। मेरे husband को मैंने यही किया। वैसे this is what I think I am going through. So since pranic healing, Reiki, homeopathy, everything is a part of my life. I know my system is undergoing something different. I am not the old version of me. So when this happens, you start informing your people at home कि भाई, this is what is happening. Typically, men are not interested in this. They will be more interested in the game or in the stock market, but they are not interested in the woman who has taken care of him for X number of years, who has basically mothered him also.
Mothered him.
Men, are they really interested in changing that सोच कि भाई ये वो औरत है जिसने मेरी इतनी देखभाल की, मैं जब बीमार पड़ता हूँ मेरे इतने नखरे से है, इतने नखरे, and my God, when you men are sick, yeah, we can even take care of our children, but when our husbands fall ill, we cannot go out anywhere, we cannot talk to our friends on the phone because we have to be 24 घंटे at his beck and call. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is when you have someone who takes on all of your nakhre, why can't you give a little bit of your time? You as a not a generalized, it's not like I'm targeting you, but it's a general question.
Right.
For that person. Our papas did not do this also.
Of course.
So men now, if you're really interested, this is the woman who has taken care of your family. And when a woman in a house is really happy, is well taken care of, is understood, she does not want you to take actions. She doesn't want you to come in. I am like Hanuman. Sorry, not Hanuman. I am Arjun. I am coming. I'll save you. No. She knows very well how to save herself because she has given birth to children. She has sahafied the menstrual cycle month on month. She knows very well to take care of herself in those years. But it's the years which are confusing for her when she's entering this phase.
Yes, absolutely.
That is the time that she looks for your support. She looks for you to understand what she's going through. Do you feel me? Is what she's saying. Do you feel me? I don't want actions. I don't want you telling me that, oh, this is just, तुम्हारे दिमाग का भ्रम होगा, या anything absurd. I want you to listen to me. Listen. See, there is a difference between hearing and there is a difference between listening to someone.
Absolutely.
There is a difference in talking to someone and there is a difference in communicating. With our children, we have to communicate. If we are going to talk to them, then they are going to continue on their tantrums. We will never get through to them. It's the same thing here.
I'll ask you a simple question. Between you and your mother, what's the age difference? 25, 30 max?
Yeah, 30.
30, yeah? And between your mother and her mother, should be about the same. 20, 25, right? Us time pe 20, 25. So if we say on a generalized level, you should have about 30 years gap between two generations.
Okay.
Even if you consider 10 pushte बहुत होती हैं. But in the larger scheme of things, it's just 300 years.
And nothing has changed.
300 years, है ना? Just 300 years. 10 pushte अगर आप लेके चलो तो that's a vast amount of data you're talking about. But in the larger macro segment of things, it's just 300 years. The evolution of human beings has taken over 10,000 years.
आप कहना क्या चाह रहे हैं? मुझे डर लग रहा है.
मैं कहना ये चाह रहा हूं that when we were in the Vedic शास्त्रों के टाइम पे जब हम लोग अपने सनातन में थे, when Bharat was one of the biggest, I would say, at its best. At that point of time, we used to have 4 गृहस्थ आश्रम थे हमारे पास, 4 आश्रम थे.
Yeah.
One was the beginning, the brahmacharya, then the grihastha, then the vanaspata, और फिर sannyas ashram. And these were all divided by what the human beings were feeling or what they needed to undergo at that time. This was devised in a way. The brahmacharya means you needed to kind of learn. The grahastha meant जो आपने सीखा है उसको आप अप्लाई करो, अपनी गृहस्थी बनाओ. वनस्पता, I think. Vanaspratha.
Vanaspata.
That was when you decided to kind of start to detach.
Correct.
And then came sannyas ashram. Perimenopause somehow is in that segment of Vanasprata when you start the detachment phase.
It's Vanaprastha? Nahi.
Vanaprastha.
Vanaprastha.
Right. That
Van
is
ko
the...
prasthan karna.
You were wanting to go into the
Yeah.
one, and आप उस segment में जाना शुरू हुए थे. You were scoping out for the next few years to come.
Correct.
Right. And then eventually you went into sannyas ashram. But when this happened, if you go back to our ancient texts, और अगर आप वो serials भी अगर आपने देखे होंगे, if you go back to those ancient texts, men, children, grandchildren, everybody used to start calling the lady of the house as Ma, for a very simple reason. That sexual libido had gone down. There was very, very less amount of sexual intimacy, and this was considered that the third phase of life meant detachment. The last phase was always sannyas ashram. Sannyas means that you venture into a sabha, into an ashram, sort of a zone. Not literally the ashram, but mentally the ashram. And वहाँ पे you had the support and feel. It's not that human evolution में ये last के 300 साल में ही menopause होना शुरू हुआ है. This has been happening for the past as long as the human beings have evolved. And as per my research, or as per my knowledge, there are only 2 to 3 species in this world who go through menopause. Apes as one, and whales as the other one. And then again, we come back to the grandmother's hypothesis. This is a phase of a bigger responsibility. Naturally, the lady starts to don that bigger role, that Shaktihood. That Shakti has always been within her. But now she starts to exercise that Shakti. So what we are trying to do with all these talks and with all this, pranali पूरा जो है, हम लोग यही चीज सब कुछ achieve करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, that we uncover that Shakti in every woman who has to pass through this particular stage, this transition. And ये कोई heart problem नहीं है, ये कोई cancer नहीं है कि किसी को हुआ, किसी को नहीं हुआ. As per the WHO data, 63% of this world will go through menopause at some point of time or the other. 63%.
That's
And
huge.
what are we doing? We are just talking about symptoms, about medical issues, and learning how to hide it better. Don't hush it. Don't speak of it. Let it be in one of those WhatsApp groups. वहां से information आ जाएगी. Why? And why aren't men talking about it now? For the men, why I'm talking or why I'm taking interest is because a man would always listen to a man. As you said, men will be men. A man will always listen to a man.
I hope so too.
No, they will.
But then,
And let me tell all the men here. Again, through this video, I want to address to the men also. हम लोग शिवा को बहुत पावरफुल गॉड समझते हैं ना, डरते हैं शिवा से. शिव का एक रूप अर्धनारीश्वर का भी है.
उन्होंने आधा टोटली स्त्री को दे दिया, अपनी शक्ति को.
Yes.
क्योंकि वो टोटली समझ गए कि जो 40% है वो तभी जिंदा रहेगा जब स्त्री मेरे साथ में रहेगी.
Right.
तो
अर्धनारीश्वर. So अगर हम
Exactly.
लोग शिव को पूछते हैं, अगर हम लोग उनको एक पावरफुल गॉड समझते हैं, then we also have to understand this bit that yes, there's no shame in there should not be a shame in exercising your duty. Because I always consider a man is a man who is able to be a father figure. And father figure is not only for your own children. Father figure is for your entire family.
Yeah.
Be it your mother, be it your sister, be it your wife, be it your children, your nephews, your nieces. आप एक वो बड़ा अम्ब्रेला हो. सो अगर हम लोग ग्रैंड स्कीम ऑफ थिंग्स देखें तो both the men and women have to understand that it's much beyond just normal biology. It is a phase, both of them, for both of them. If
Yeah,
menopause is happening to women, andropause is happening to men.
yeah, but it's very subtle.
Subtle, but then of course it is. And
Yeah,
वहां पे क्या है, हमारी ईगोज नहीं एंड्रोपॉज में आ रही है ना. हमारी ईगोज एंड्रोपॉज में नहीं आ रही. सो हम लोग क्या करते हैं, बाइक उठाई और चलो. आपने देखा होगा जनरली मोस्ट ऑफ द men who are able to start to, you know, अभी क्या है, रिटायर होने की उम्र आ गई है, आपने अच्छा खासा पैसा कमा लिया, यू हैव सेव्ड अ लॉट, योर चिल्ड्रन आर सेटल्ड, एंड दिस इज द टाइम व्हेन दे स्टार्ट एक्सप्लोरिंग all those things that they missed. So when they start indulging in what they should have done 20 years hence back, what happens to what you're supposed to do now? And that is probably, I'm not too sure whether we'll keep this in the video or not. I don't want to ruffle a few feathers unnecessarily. But अगर आप देखो तो हम लोग जितना अपने सनातन से दूर होते जाएंगे, and this is not about Hindu, Muslim, Sikh or something like that. I'm from a Sikh family, but I I'm a very firm believer of my. सिखों ने भी तो कहीं से हिंदुइज्म से ही तो उमजे थे ना. सो अगर हम लोग सनातन से जितना जितना दूर होते जाएंगे, उतना हम लोग इन चीजों में फंसते चले जाएंगे. सो देयर इज नो नीड फॉर processing this as a disease or something like that.
yeah. There's one more thing, you were talking about the चार अवस्थाs, right?
Right.
उसमें क्या होता था कि when she's touching late 40s, early 50s, when she's more or less into her 50s,
Hmm.
she was supposed to take a back role
Hmm.
क्योंकि तब तक बहू आ जाती थी.
Hmm.
तो हर ड्यूटी वॉज कि भाई अगर हमारे खानदान की जो रेसिपीज वगैरह हैं या फिर हमारे पूजा पाठ में जो चीजें हम करते आ रहे हैं, क्योंकि हम इस गोत्र के थे, वी कम
Hmm.
फ्रॉम दिस ऋषि मुनि,
Hmm.
तो उनके जो स्पेसिफिक चीजें थी ये कंटिन्यू ऐसे किया जाता है करके शी वुड टेक द बैक स्टेप एंड शी वुड एक्चुअली अलाउ द बहू टू फुल्ली रन द हाउस होल्ड. She would not be getting into the nitty gritties of पैसा कितना खर्च हुआ and all those things. चाबी hand over कर दो, take a back seat. But unfortunately आज के ज़माने में ये चीज़ भी आप, I don't know how you're going to include this because that will also ruffle a lot of women
Doesn't
feathers.
matter. This is a very valid point, and this again reiterates that the lady or the woman in this menopausal stage starts to look after herself more.
Yeah.
She starts to pamper herself more, because जब आप खुद सोच के देखो 22 साल की उम्र से, when she, let's say 20-22 साल, 18-20 साल, whenever she got married and then she had kids one after the other, 1 2 3 4 howsoever, and फिर उनकी परवरिश में पल पड़ गए, उसके बाद उनकी शादियां करी. By the time her majority of strength and her emotional drainage has already happened. Strength has also drained, emotions have also drained.
हाँ. Why? Because by that time also that वो जो एक भाव होता है ना कि let go, संभालने दो उनको, वो चीज तब तक भी आजकल के औरतों में, हमारे बड़ों में भी नहीं आती है.
नहीं आती.
अनफॉर्चुनेटली ईगो, मेरे को पकड़ के रखना है, वो चीज
इसका
औरतों में
आपको
भी
एक
है.
और बड़ा अच्छा मैं रीजन, the reason what I think it is, maybe you will not agree with me on this. Our previous two generations, at least two generations, have carried a lot of generational trauma passed on to them. आप खुद सोच के देखो, 1915 1920 से जब से हमारे देश में उथल पुथल स्टार्ट हुई, तो आप लगा लो 2 या 3 पुश्तें जितनी भी होंगी, आई थिंक 3 पुश्तें हो गई,
Yeah.
तब से instability started creeping in, and that instability was passed on. Now look at Punjab, Haryana for that matter. We've always faced the burden of invasions. वो कहाँ गया वो जनरेशनल ट्रॉमा? हमारे अंदर ही तो आएगा ना, वो कहीं ना कहीं तो वो प्रेस हो के कंप्रेस हो के आगे से आगे जनरेशन में चलता जाएगा. So that insecurity somehow has been bred into us. And जो आप बात कर रहे हो, that control की चाबियां नहीं देनी है. दे दी तो पता नहीं क्या कर देगी. That
But
stems from
वो
these
वाला,
insecurities.
yeah, but then that generation also is not actually ready to take on the responsibilities. तो control तो रखना ही
Obviously,
पड़ेगा.
obviously. वो भी तो
So
इसीलिए नहीं कर रहे हैं ना, बिकॉज उसके अंदर भी तो, उनके अंदर भी तो वो पास ऑन होके जनरेशनल ट्रॉमा भरा हुआ है.
yeah, but दूसरी बात,
डिफायंस, एरोगेंस, डिफायंस भी तो हमारे में अंदर आई ना.
yeah, but if she does, and this is the time when she's in her 40s, and near about this is the same time that the kids will be like 10th, 11th, 12th या फिर college, ये उम्र में होंगे, तो उसके लिए पैसा हमने जो जोड़ के रखा हुआ है, वो बस है क्या, कहीं से लोन लेना है क्या, हस्बैंड विल बी अ लिटिल एल्डर, तो he'll be nearly touching retirement. Okay, he'll be
राइट.
in that last phase,
जोन,
right before,
यस,
हाँ,
जोन,
right
या.
before retirement के phase में होंगे. तो जो हमने जुटा के रखे हैं पैसे, is that enough for all of these people? Tension. So on one side, her own system is going through perimenopausal and menopausal phases. Okay,
राइट.
all these things are happening inside of her. Yet on the outside, she has to practically, analytically think कि भाई ये इसको ये चाहिए, इसको वो चाहिए करके पैसे के हिसाब से. Where is everyone going in the next phase of their lives? So she never pays attention to herself. She never shares what is happening to her family, because the family is already bogged down with whatever I am going to get into. 10th में है, ओ मैं इसी स्कूल में रहूंगा क्या कि दूसरे स्कूल में जाने वाला हूँ. बच्चे को अपनी ही फिक्र है.
सबको, एवरीबडी,
हाँ, सबको अपनी
एवरीबडी.
अपनी, yeah, everyone's going to think about themselves at that time. So that is the time when physically also ये जो BP आना, diabetes आना, thyroid problems आना, ये सारी चीजें they start creeping in at that time only. So she
यू नो,
already has a plethora of physical stuff, super stress. That's
आई
when my
डिफाइन
parents,
I define emotion as energy in motion.
it
Last time we
is,
discussed about it.
it is.
And जितना आप उसको दबा के रखोगे ना, सो अभी एक तो पहले ये टेंशन है कि पैसे कहाँ से आएंगे, और आगे इसने 10th के बाद 12th में कौन सा सब्जेक्ट लेना है, और 12th के बाद क्या होगा, इसको तो कुछ आता ही नहीं है, will he be able to do it or not. You know,
Correct,
I had wanted him to go into this particular college, और अब ये पता नहीं जा पाएगा नहीं जा पाएगा. Last
correct.
year the cut-offs were so much, and इस साल तो और भी ज्यादा होगा. That is something that you are actually piling on yourself.
Yeah,
Why? Because you have you have been. I'm sorry. I'm just generalizing this. It's a way of saying कि वो जो इमोशनल बैगेज हम लोग लेके चलते हैं, वो हमारे को आदत पड़ गई. अगर हम लोग एक दिन नहीं लेंगे तो हमारे को गिल्टी होता है कि आज हमने कुछ करा नहीं है. We
correct.
have not done enough, and that is why there's no tension. तो आज इसका मतलब कुछ करा नहीं है. आज इसका मतलब कुछ सोचा ही नहीं. इसका मतलब यू आर नॉट वरीड अबाउट योर
अरे
चिल्ड्रंस फ्यूचर.
पूरा दिन 24 घंटे व्यर्थ चले गए भाई, इसका ही
है ना?
टेंशन ले लो.
क्यों 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 गए? क्यों खुश हो गए? बच्चों की छुट्टियां, वो अपना खेल रहे हैं, वो अपने मजे से हैं, वो सब कुछ कर रहे हैं, एवरीथिंग इज देयर. बट आज कुछ टेंशन क्यों नहीं ली? सो दैट टेंडेंसी ऑफ piling up emotions, because our energy is not, we are not used to that free flowing energy. So जब भी वो energy free flowing होती है, हमारे को लगता है नहीं नहीं आज तो कुछ गड़बड़ है भाई. This is not supposed to be. This is not how it's supposed to be. Energy should not be in motion. That means emotion should be depressed. I should have some worry. And we start creating those worries. We create sources of those worry unnecessary. उसने ऐसा बोला था, अब उसके पास जाना है नहीं जाना है, क्यों जाएंगे हम लोग उसके पास? Something of this order.
Yeah,
And someday, one day, you will have the volcano just erupt out.
erupting.
Because emotional drama will start to happen. So this is the sole reason why we intend to have these chanting circles, that for heaven's sake, एक बारी छोड़ के भी देखो, एक बारी सरेंडर करके भी देखो, बहुत कुछ भगवान ने देने वाला रखा हुआ है। अगर आप एक बारी अपनी ये इमोशनल बैगेज को तो साइड करो।
Yeah. Last thing about the चार अवस्थास. The last phase, sannyas. What we are supposed to do is we're supposed to consolidate the whole life from starting from our student phase, brahmacharya, गृहस्थ आश्रम में जो मैंने सीखा, was I able to actually implement it correctly? Okay? And then मेरी जो family है, they're well taken care of. Now I have to focus actually on myself. It was written long ago itself. हम आज तक नहीं कर पा रहे हैं वो चीज. We're supposed to focus on ourselves so that, because we already know we're going to come back. We absolutely believe in reincarnation, coming
Definitely.
back.
Definitely.
So we had to actually focus कि भाई ठीक है, ये सब मैंने सीखा है, ये सब मैंने अच्छे से इम्प्लीमेंट कर दिया है, अब मुझे आगे क्या चाहिए, मेरे में क्या खामियां हैं, what am I not having right now, वो सारी चीजें, नॉट मटेरियली, माने कि एज एन एवोल्यूशनरी प्रोसेस में मैं देखा जाऊं तो मेरे में अभी भी गुस्सा है, अभी भी मेरे में ईर्ष्या है. These things we were supposed to look into
You were
ourselves.
supposed to reflect. You were supposed to reflect, and
Absolutely.
these were supposed to be for a higher cause. You know,
Because you wanted to start your next life from a higher stage level.
now the sannyas ashram is basically in the hospital, in and out of the OPD, probably sometimes visiting the surgery ward also. Touch wood, it should not happen like that, but I would say 50% of the people are passing their sannyas ashram in some OPD and some private room of a hospital.
Unfortunately.
Why? Because unfortunately, but this is the truth.
We
So
have
जब आप
come
अपने
away.
सर्वाइवल के अंदर ही फंस जाओगे तो आप इन चीजों के बारे में, these are the more subtle things, आप when you
कहाँ
are not
सोचेंगे?
worried about your survival ना, जब आपको वो लालसा नहीं रह जाती, और जब आप वापस आए घर तो फिर वही तमाशा कि ओके इसने ऐसा कहा था, उसने, हम लोग उसके घर गए नहीं, अच्छा उसने ऐसा फिर देन अगेन आफ्टर 2 weeks यू आर बैक टू द ओपीडी कि मेरा तो बीपी हाई हो गया भाई.
करेक्ट.
तो बीपी तो हाई होएगा ही, डॉक्टर
Yeah.
समझा के भेजता है ये दवाई खाना, बट दवाई इज जस्ट फॉर द मैनेजमेंट ऑफ इट. अंदर से स्टॉप वरिंग, एंड
So
समहाउ
when
वी डोंट लिसन टू दैट.
that's what I'm saying, we don't listen, we are only hearing things.
Yeah,
Listen means it goes in here and then it goes to hear the heart.
I think
When
we'll have to edit out a lot of things because otherwise we'll end up ruffling a lot of feathers. Yeah.
but that's how
लोग
we're
आएंगे ही नहीं
supposed
हमारे
to.
कम्युनिटी में.
नहीं आना है.
So with this end note, Shri Vidya ji, I'd like to thank you for your presence, and thank you for all the insights that you've shared with us, and with a promise that we will get back together to talk about certain other factors that affect menopause, perimenopause, and the postmenopause stage. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, and thank you. Yeah.
Thank you as well. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for listening to me. I hope the ladies listen to this and they can make something better of their own lives. And definitely listening to the Stotram has great benefits. Just listen to it. Even if you're just going to put it on your ears, just listen at peace. It has its effects.
Thank you so much.
Signing off.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you very
Vidya ji.
much.